What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Watch. It is episode number 9. Week 10 of the NFL season is here. Pittsburgh Steelers going against a historic foe with the Green Bay Packers this weekend. Should be a really good matchup, and Vegas thinks the same. Steelers are 3-point favorites in this one at home. Over-under is 38.5. Another low over-under here. So do with that what you will, but the Steelers haven't scored that many points in a couple of weeks. Just looking at their schedule, last week the total was 36, the week before 30, the week prior 41, the week prior to that 27. And so there haven't been a lot of high-scoring games here, so I don't think you should be too surprised about this over-under. I think this is what it's going to be for most of the season. Now the spread here is -3 is very interesting for the Steelers because this is the first time they've been larger than 1.5-point favorites since, I would say, week 4 when they played the Texans. So things are moving in the direction that we want to see with the Steelers. I think they're starting to get a bit more respect than they have. Most people understand that the Steelers team doesn't have some amazing offense. Kenny Pickett's not going to go out here and throw 300-plus passing yards, but they are going to win games because they have a great defense and a great head coach, and they just find ways to win. So for this game here, I love the Steelers -3. I think this is going to be a decisive win. I know I said that about the Texans game a couple weeks prior, but this one I do feel really good about. And if they don't wipe them out, you're going to have to start thinking about maybe, is this team a super playoff contender, or will they be fighting to get that last wild card spot? As you know, the AFC North is incredibly tight right now. Steelers are 5-3, which has them tied for second with the Browns and the Bengals. Ravens sit atop at 7-2. Now, the most interesting thing here is the net points. Steelers still in the negative here with -30 points. Just doesn't really match with all the other teams that have winning records across the NFL. Bengals, they have a -7-point differential, so they still haven't been doing as good as people thought they would, but they've definitely been heating up in the prior weeks. I'm a bit concerned, but as of right now, all AFC North teams would be in the playoffs if the season ended today. I do think there's a big possibility that that happens this year. I do think these are the 3 best wildcard teams. You know, Bills and Dolphins, that'll probably be one of them. So it'll probably be only 3 AFC North teams, 2 making the wild card. I think it's looking good. If the Steelers can keep the winning going, then playoffs are coming for them. And the best thing that the Steelers have going for them right now is that they're undefeated in the division. They beat the Browns in week 2, and they beat the Ravens a couple weeks after that. Ravens are only 2-1 in the division. You know that Lamar Jackson can't play good against the Steelers, so we've got that to look forward to later in the season. But the most important thing right now is the upcoming week. And how are Steelers fans feeling about it? How's the media feeling about it? So we're going to jump into it right now. But first, let's take a look at some Steelers news around the league this week. I'd say the top thing making headlines this week is that the Cowboys signed Martavis Bryant to a contract. The former Steeler was an absolute stud for them, aside Antonio Brown, and then Juju came in. Things got a little weird. But this guy was super talented. Unfortunately, had some discipline with some issues in his past, but he's back in the NFL. He's been reinstated, and he is the Cowboys' newest receiver. Now, the reason I bring this up today is because I found a really interesting tweet. He said, for the youngins, this is Gabe Davis. For Steelers fans who remember watching this guy, you know he's not Gabe Davis. He was not some wide receiver, too. He wasn't a guy who was going to go out there and get 3 targets, maybe a big touchdown. This was a guy who was putting up numbers every week. Much better than Gabe Davis, but I'm interested to see what you guys think. Do you think this is a fair comparison? And if there is a comparison for this guy, who do you think it would be? So let's just take a look around Twitter, see what some predictions are flying around here. Pickensburg, this guy has somehow become a super big Steelers influencer. He's throwing out pitches at Pirates games. It's just absurd. I don't understand it, really. He's kind of just an internet troll, but here's his predictions for this Sunday. He as Kenny will have 341 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That would be amazing. Is that going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. And with this guy, you can never tell if it's just sarcasm or if he's actually being serious. I don't think he's being serious on this one. Kenny Pickett's not going to be doing that type of stuff this year. I do think they escape with a win, but that is just super optimistic. Okay, here we have some final score predictions for this upcoming game from NFL Network. We've got Patrick Claybon saying 17-13. So he's got the Steelers covering the spread and going the under. We've got Greg Rosenthal 20-16. That would also be an under here, and the Steelers covering it. And lastly, Cynthia Freeland has it 19-17, where the Steelers wouldn't cover the spread, but the under would hit. So a lot of people thinking this is not going to be a high-scoring game, but it seems like everyone's on board that the Steelers are the superior team and that they should win this game. Here's another Kenny Pickett stat prediction. He has him going 25 for 37 with 259 yards, a touchdown, and 0 interceptions. That is a much more reasonable stat line. George Pickens, 8 catches, 132 yards, and touchdown. That's possible, but I think with Deontay Johnson and how he's overtaken that wide receiver 1 position, I don't think he's going to be putting up numbers like that for the rest of the season. He's going to maybe crack 100 yards here and there. I don't see him getting 8 catches. I think Deontay is the clear-cut number 1 guy now. Looking at a lot of these predictions, everyone's saying low scoring, everyone's saying tight games. I think everyone's just kind of going along with what Vegas is saying. I'll go out on a limb and I'll say what the people aren't saying. I think the Steelers win by 2 scores, at least 10 points. I just feel very confident about this game. I think that the offense was moving so much better. Maybe all it took was to get Matt Canada on the sidelines. I don't know, but things changed and the offense has looked better since then. I'm feeling confident. I'll give my bold prediction. Steelers win 26-14. Final score, Steelers cover. The over hits. People will be shocked. Got 2 predictions here, both of them going over. Steelers 27, Packers 23. And another one, Steelers 27, Packers 17. I haven't seen anyone saying the Packers are going to win yet, which sometimes is scary. I'm not going to lie. Still, whole lot of Steelers. Okay, here we go. It's a Packers fan, but he does say 31-25 Green Bay. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked. I think there'd have to be some defensive touchdowns if that was the final score. So you guys know Turf Watch, it's all about making sure Steelers are getting their respect. It's making sure that no one is trying to put down our players and making sure that we aren't just going to be trashed without giving something back. So you've all seen this past week. Everyone's saying C.J. Stroud, he has more touchdown passes than Kenny Pickett. He's done it in 13 games fewer. It's been going on all over the place. He's only played a couple games. He's looked good. I do agree that C.J. Stroud is probably the best quarterback out of the 2023 rookie class. But to compare him to Kenny Pickett right now isn't fair. Kenny had a lot of growing pains. He had some struggles with these receivers early on, but he's been winning games. And C.J. Stroud, I can't say he hasn't, but let's readdress this maybe next year when they've played the same amount of games and compare those stats and wins and losses, because that's the most important thing for a quarterback in my mind. Can the quarterback win? And C.J. Stroud, he's 500 right now. For a rookie, that's really good. Through your first 8 games, it's amazing. But I don't really care about touchdown passes. Will Levis threw 4 touchdown passes in his first start, and then he came out against the Steelers and didn't look like the same guy. You wouldn't say that he's better than Pickett in that game. Pickett clearly outdueled him. Now, maybe in a year or two, if we readdress this, maybe Will Levis will be the better quarterback, because I do think he was super talented. But right now, it's way too early. I just think it's absurd that this was going around so much and that accounts like ESPN and SportsCenter were pushing this type of stuff. And it's really just cherry picking against Kenny Pickett. You could have said this stuff about any quarterback through his first however many games, just because of how unprecedented C.J. Stroud's rookie year has been. He's already set the single-game rookie passing yard record with 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. He won that big comeback against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. He's just doing amazing things right now, and he's being forced to do a lot. Kenny Pickett shouldn't be asked to throw for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. We should be able to trust our first-round running back, Najee Harris, as well as the super talented Jaylen Warren, and our incredible defense to keep our offense off the field. So I just feel like this is incredible disrespect here and way too early to be making these type of judgments. Now, this is interesting. In that one game, Stroud threw for 12% of his career pass yardage and 38% of his career touchdowns in the game. I'm not saying that means anything. I'm just saying it's interesting and to keep an eye out on these numbers as Stroud continues in his career. Another thing about this CJ Stroud thing before we move on He was the second overall pick in the draft, and he really should have been the first overall. Kenny Pickett was the 20th overall pick for a reason. If he was some amazing talent, he would have been taken, and Steelers would have never had a chance to get him. Unfortunately, the Steelers are such a good and consistent franchise that we'll never have the chance to draft a guy like CJ Stroud. It's just never going to happen. Now, Kenny Pickett, I think, was a steal at the 20th pick. He was definitely the best quarterback in his class. But you can't compare a second overall pick and a 20th overall pick. They just aren't comparable. The last bit of disrespect going around this week was that LeBron James, he said that the Lakers are playing like the Steelers. He was like, you know what that means? That means that we basically stink on offense and we turn up in the fourth quarter. Was this disrespect, or was he showing some love to the Steelers? I can't really tell. It's probably not a good thing to be being talked about like that, being the team that really can't get it done until the last quarter, but at least we're getting it done. I'm not too upset about it. Here's another clip that was going around this week in Steelers Nation. Dan Graziano of ESPN, he was talking about the current Steelers team, and he said they're literally not good at anything besides winning the game. I can't say he's wrong. They really haven't been exceptional at anything. I mean, rushing the passer and winning games. Yeah, he's right. There really isn't anything that has been excellent besides winning. And I've said it multiple times this show already. I'll say it again. That's the only thing that matters. So I don't care. As long as the wins keep on coming, I'll have no complaints. Wow, this guy said it. He said rushing the passer and winning games. Exactly. So this guy says this is extremely stupid. If you're not good at anything but still win, then you'll have to explain the wins. Checks notes, yeah, Rams, Titans, Raiders, Browns, and Ravens. LOL, 2 500 teams. One of those 500 teams has a legit quarterback. In that game, there were 3 dropped touchdown passes. The other game featured 2 defensive touchdowns. Steelers are the new Vikings, and that's not going to change against the hapless Packers. So we have to endure another week of this nonsense. Steelers are the new Vikings. That was an interesting quote there. I know I've heard some comparisons of Kirk Cousins, and I just don't think it's the new Vikings. The Vikings have never had the type of defenders that the Steelers have. They've never had the coach that the Steelers have had. The Vikings have never had a Mike Tomlin, and until then, you can't say that they're the new Vikings. I've heard a lot of people complain this week. They're like, Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada, the Steelers team, they're just going to be average enough where everyone keeps their job, but they're not going to do anything. That's what they're saying, not what I'm saying. Just interesting to bring up. Here's something interesting I found a couple of days ago. This is from Jordan Dajani from CBSSports.com, and he ranked the top most feared edge rushers. And Browns' Myles Garrett leads this scary, versatile group. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. TJ Watt's got to be maybe 2, right? Number 5, Max Crosby. All right, yeah, he's a pretty scary dude, I'd say. Maybe not top 5. Micah Parsons got to be in here as well. Let's see. Number 4, TJ Watt. Okay. It's got to be... Who would you even put ahead of him? Nick Bosa. Okay. Interesting. Younger guy. Wouldn't say he's scary or doesn't get to the quarterback enough. There's Micah Parsons. He's a scary dude. I'll give him that. And then number 1, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is a freak of nature. Very good. Incredibly good at winning against offensive line. But TJ Watt's different. He changes the game. I don't watch a ton of Browns games, but I can tell you there's no defender that I've ever seen watching any game change the outcome of a game more than TJ Watt. And to say he's not scary, just look at that video of him with that sack when he had his helmet off. Just a terrifying freak of nature, an absolute badass, a terrifying dude. He's got to be number 1 here. You can bump Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Nick Bosa up. TJ Watt's that guy. He's that guy, and I'm tired of hearing it every week that he's not. Here's something on the Steelers subreddit. He says, this is a 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers. Picture of Rocky Balboa. I haven't even read it yet, and I know this is true. This is a gritty underdog team. They're going to need to fight. They're going to need to take on the big dogs. It's honestly got me fired up, just this comparison. I do think this Steelers team is the Rocky Balboa. I do think they can rise up and beat championships, but it is going to take a lot. It's going to take heart, and everyone's going to need to be fully bought in. But let's take a look at what he says. So season has basically been a little bit of this. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. It's a little bit of this. No, maybe I can't win. Maybe the only thing I can do is just take everything he's got. But to beat me, he's going to have to kill me. And to kill me, he's going to have the heart to stand in front of me. And to do that, he's got to be willing to die himself. And I don't know if he's ready to do that. I don't know. Two fantastic quotes from one of the greatest movies of all time. I'll just bring it up every time I talk about Rocky. Just got to mention that Philadelphia's greatest athlete is a fictional character. This guy says it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about whether TJ Watt is playing and keep moving forward. We wear them down, then beat them in the fourth. I didn't hear no bell. It's the Steelers' way. So that's a pretty good analogy. We're only in the middle rounds right now, so a lot can go wrong, but damned if it wouldn't be exciting if things started to go right. I'm feeling it. I'm pumped up. I love this post right here. This is a fantastic one. Some optimism, some hope, believing in the underdog, knowing that the Steelers can do this. I love it. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode of Turf Watch right here. I hope that you enjoyed. I'm feeling great about this upcoming Steelers game, and I hope you are as well. Let's keep this thing rolling. If you guys see any helpful tweets between now and next week, doesn't even have to be tweets, Reddit posts, Instagram posts, blogs, anything, send it to me. I've been telling you to send it to me on Twitter. I realized that Elon, since he bought it and ruined the whole app, you can't have your DMs open. So tweet it at me, at DonFarrow0. You don't have to DM me. But if you follow me, I'll try to follow back so you can send me these messages because we'd love to get them featured. But for right now, drop those predictions in the comments and keep rooting for them Steelers. So I'll see you guys at the next game, and here we go.